Oh, this is so exciting. Um, it's swimsuit time. That's what today's live is about. How are you guys? I'm going to wait for some people to hop on. We are streaming to YouTube, my Facebook community, Style for Smart Cookies, and my business page. So hello and welcome. I'm glad you could join us. I'm just going to adjust the shirt a little bit. I'm rocking a lettuce edge situation, which is kind of nuts because apparently the 90s are all the way back. Hold on, I feel like there's a lag. I'm gonna close some stuff out. Yeah, it's like crazy. I mean, I guess everything just comes back around again, right? But at the same time, it's weird. How are you guys? I want to know where you are, what you're doing. I also want to know, like, are you getting dressed again? Is that a thing that you're doing? I feel like it's time, but I mean, what do I know, right? Hold on, let me get my Instagram self together. Y'all good? It's good to see you. All right, we're going live. I always say I'm going to set this up ahead of time, and then I don't, which just facts. All right, so if you're here and you're tuning in, we are talking all about the best swimwear for your shape, for your body shape. So it's going to be a pretty educational training. I actually have some slides that I'm going to show you. What? So yes, your girl prepped for today. Okay, she came ret, and she ready. So let me just get this set up, and we'll be good to go. Okay. Hi, IG. I'm going to move y'all over here. Oops. Okay. Cool. All right. Let's get it popping. Say hello in the comments. It's so good to see you guys. I love doing these lives. I love having this time with you all to talk all things style and beauty and working on ourselves and loving ourselves, which is, I'm rapidly discovering, an always thing, not a sometimes thing. So, got to get that work in. Okay, so today for swimwear, this was inspired by, I recently went to Puerto Rico. Don't be jelly. No, but it was a really great trip. As I've said in previous lives, I feel like I talk about myself like an adopted, like, stray dog at a shelter. Like, I'm like, I got all my shots. Oh my God, let's go play. But fully vaccinated up in this business. And some friends were going, like, you want to come? And I was like, I think I do. I'd also been reading a lot about how Puerto Rico was like super safe, like mandatory masks everywhere, curfew at 10. Let me tell you something about that 10 o'clock curfew, y'all. The best thing about a 10 o'clock curfew is I don't have to pretend that I want to be up past 10 o'clock. It's a win-win. So just putting that out there. But no, it was a really good trip. But so to prep for the trip, I was like, like a lot of us, it's like, I don't even know what size I am anymore. I mean, maybe it's not a lot of us, but it's me, because like I just been wearing joggers and doing whatever, right? So it was like, swim. Interesting. What's that going to be about? So I ordered approximately 472 swimsuits, and I tried them all on, and I had like a really high conversion rate, I would say. Now, cheating a little bit, right? Like, I am a professional stylist, so I should know a little bit about like trying to figure out like what's going to look good. But I will say, be kind to yourself. Swimwear and jeans, girl, like, it's a process, it's a journey. So those are the two areas I would say. Especially jeans, if you're bigger on the bottom, you're curvier on the bottom, or you have like a really big ratio between like your waist and your hips, like, just know it might take a little bit to find the right one. One of the things I love best about working with my clients is like I bring them jeans in the dressing room, pre-COVID. And like usually like the first pair fits like a glove, and they're like, what is this jean magic? My friend and client Dulari calls me the jeans whisperer. It is a title that I hold very proudly. Very proudly. But all that to say, when you are on your own, if you are not a client of mine or not a student of mine, and you haven't learned all the things about your body shape, just know that swim and jeans take a little bit of time. So like, don't get frustrated with yourself. I want you guys to always, always, always remember, it is never you. It is the clothes. Say it with me. It is not you. It is the clothes. So if you feel unflattered in something, the retraining of your brain is not, there's something wrong with my body. It's, these clothes are not flattering. Let's move on. And I know that gets tough because sometimes if you're trying on like multiple things, right, and it feels like nothing's working, we internalize that. We internalize that as, you know, it's me, like, you know, I'm just not made for clothes. They don't make stuff for my body. And like, I get that. Those feelings are very real. But when you really start to understand your unique body type and what flatters it, girl, there's all the clothes in the world out there for you. You just have to go in with that knowledge, which like we don't grow up knowing, right? And so that's like a big thing for me. Like style is not like a you have it or you don't. It is a learned skill, like a lot of things. And that's why I'm here. I'm here for you, boo. All right, so let's get into the swim business. So like I said, I do have some slides. If you're on IG, I love y'all. I can't do slide. I don't know. Maybe I'll bring the thing around. Like you just have to see my whole desktop. Like, I don't know. It's going to be mirrored. For those of you who are on YouTube, if you hop over to, on IG, if you hop over to YouTube and just search Brandeis Nicole, I'm live there as well. If you want to see the slide deck, or you can always check it out later because I'll be obviously doing a voiceover. So I didn't know what size I was. So here's the other thing, like buy 2 sizes. We get so hung up on size, right? Like hand raise if the thought of buying a size up makes you want to get back into bed. I've been there. It's a thing, but it really truly is something where, again, it's not you, it's the clothes. You have no control over how that pattern was cut, what fit model they used, what the technical designer had in mind for that particular shape. Like there's so many things that go into the size of a garment that have nothing to do with you. So your goal, your objective is to find the thing that fits your body. It can be really hard to get over that, like, oh, but what's that label like, right? What's on the tag? But I can promise you, squeezing yourself into something for the vanity, which I get, but for the vanity of saying you fit into a certain size when you look all like sausagey and like whatever's happening because you're squeezing yourself into like things that shouldn't be happening. Not the goal, friend. So I do want to put that out there, like buy 2 sizes. Sizing up is okay. You just have to get into that process. The other thing is swim has a lot of stretch, right? So certain things might be a little bit more forgiving, but again, you want to be comfortable. Like you're going to the beach. It's supposed to be relaxing. The last thing you want to do is be feeling like constricted or like you're in shapewear, right? Like live your best life. And we'll talk about some silhouettes and some different ways that will allow you to be comfortable while still looking really flattered. So as a primer of sorts, before we get into these slides, there are, folks who work with me know this, there are 5 body shapes that I work with. Let me rephrase that differently. I work with all the body shapes. There are 5 categories that everyone fits into. So the first is going to be bigger on top. That means that you have a bust measurement that is 2 inches greater than your hip measurement, or you have broad shoulders, or both. Sometimes you hear this as like top heavy or busty. I like to go just describe the thing. Your proportions are bigger on top than they are anywhere else, right? Bigger on the bottom. It's the inverse. You carry more of your proportions in your hips and your thighs. We have a straight body type, which is where the bust and the hips are actually usually pretty similar. You have more breadth in your rib cage, right? So sometimes you see this as like an athletic body. I mean, choose your own adventure. If you feel athletic, go for it. But it really, for me, is just more about there's not a ton of definition in a waist, right? Which is a very normal thing. We're always programmed to think every woman's body is supposed to have this like itty bitty waist. That's not a thing for a vast number of women. So do not beat yourself up if that is not your body shape. The next one is proportional. That's where, again, there's very little difference between your bust and your hip measurement, but you do have more definition in the waist. It's more of a typical hourglass. I say typical. It's more of an hourglass. It is not typical. Only 7% of women in America have that body shape, and yet it's how clothes are designed. So if you feel like clothes aren't made for you sometimes, that's why. But I promise you there's stuff out there for you. And the last is more in the middle. More in the middle means that your waist measurement, so where you're carrying weight in your midsection, is greater than either your bust or your hips. Sometimes that's the only one that can kind of go along for the ride with others. So for example, right now, I have a big around the bottom shape. I am also more in the middle right now. So more in the middle is its own thing, but it can also come along for the fun of being with the other body shapes. As we age, postpartum, right, there's a ton of reasons why we start to carry more weight in our midsection. The way that I do this, it's really objective, right? It's not like, oh, I hate my tummy, right? It's like, I have more in the middle. Let's move on. Let's find some clothes that make me feel flattered in the middle. And I don't want to minimize like all the thoughts that go on, right? Because I have them too. But when you start dressing for your body shape, you really start to understand what flatters you, and you can just change that narrative and just like the ease of going on about your day with that knowledge, I think is just, it's really mentally freeing. It's an active thing. It can be a bit of a journey, but having clothes that fit you really well really help. With that in mind, plug, I'm launching a body shape course. My signature style and body shape course is launching next month. And I want you there. So if you're on Facebook with me or YouTube, I'm putting up a banner now. If you're on Instagram, you can head to my bio after this. It's style.brandeisnicole.com/body-shape-waitlist. And you can get on the waitlist and be the first to know when doors open for that course. And you can learn so much more about a lot of things I'm teaching today. All right, let's get these slides going. IG fam, do not despair. I will be doing voiceover for many things. But basically, I'm just going to be showing a lot of pictures of me on vacation. It's like, how self-serving is this? I mean, honestly, it's just really vulnerable. It's just like me in a bikini several times. So there's that. I do it for you. I do it for the culture. All right, let's get these slides going. Why can I not change this? Hold, please. You guys might have been seeing that the whole time. Here we go. Share screen. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is you have to know your body and where things are on your individual body. So I think a lot of times, whether it's talking about like fruits or triangles and shapes or whatever body shape kind of theory you go with, it often minimizes the individual differences for people, even within that body shape, right? So you have to know, where's your natural waist? How broad are your shoulders? Do you have a long torso or a short torso? Where are your hip bones in relation to the bottom of your pelvic bone? I mean, like, this is the level of detail I get into, because all of that really matters when you're trying to figure out what to wear and how to wear it. So what I want you to do right now is a little hands-on exercise wherever you are. You're going to take your hands like this. Hold on, let me make sure my StreamYard people can still see me. Okay, y'all. Take your hands like this, and you're going to put them right under your boobs. Okay. You're then going to skim them down your body until you feel that last rib. That is where your natural waist is. That is, for many of us, the narrowest part of our torso. That matters when thinking about where a bikini bottom hits, when thinking about like how high the legs come up on something, because you want to kind of get them high and near the natural waist if you're going for a high cut look. If you don't have a ton of differentiation in between your natural waist and your actual waist, or in my case, my actual waist, because I carry more in the middle right now, is larger than my natural waist, you still want to think about that point of demarcation, because that's where you want a bottom to come up and over. And I'll show you this in a second. It's the same in jeans, right? The reason high-rise jeans look great on just about everyone is because you're coming up and over to a narrower part of the body, and that in general looks more flattering. Let me just check the comments real quick. Hi, Maria. Maria says this is exactly why I joined. Yay. We are going to get into it. All right. So let's get into these slides. Those of you on IG, again, like you can head over to YouTube and just search Brandeis Nicole if you want to be able to see the slides in tandem. Okay. So first up, here we go. We have me on a beach in Puerto Rico. And like, here's the thing, y'all. I've shared this like a few times in different lives. I've gained 65 pounds in the past 4 years. I would say it's unexplained in the sense that like sometimes it's just like a lot of weight at once. And as someone who was very thin privileged before that, I wore a size 4 my entire life. I would go up and down maybe like 3 to 5 pounds and be like, oh, something's happening. And like, whatever. So this amount of weight has really helped me to refocus on how important dressing for your shape is, because I don't get up every morning and feel like I look great. Like, let's just name that, right? There are times where it's like, it's more of that happening. And like, I just want to be honest about that, right? Like, I think a lot of body positivity makes us feel like we have to just like love the body we're in 1,000% of the time. Sometimes that's just not real life, right? So I don't have to like love my body all the time to respect her enough to dress her and still look cute. And so that's what we're about. So in this particular slide, I've got on a V-neck top, and then the bottoms are high waist and a high cut leg. So when you're looking at swim, you got to think about there's a ton of different silhouettes, right? So I want you to start to break this down into zones of the body. That's how I teach. So you're going to think about what's my top half doing and what's my bottom half doing. Most of us do not have a proportional body shape, as I mentioned, right? So proportional being where you are the same on top and the same on bottom. And so you have to start to think about these zones of your body and think about how to dress each one, like how to address each one. So with that, think about what works for you in real clothes, okay? So when you're thinking about a swimsuit top, whether it's a one piece or a two piece, do you need a scoop neck? Do you need a V-neck? Can you wear a high neck? Do you like a racer back? Do you need wide straps, right? Like, those are the same conversations you should be having with yourself when thinking about what that swimsuit top is going to look like. A lot of us get really psyched out with swimwear because we're like, oh my God, it's like a whole different beast. Like, I don't even know where to start. You actually have a lot of tools to be able to figure out what silhouettes look best on you by just thinking about what you're already doing in your regular clothes. So for me, I know I'm flattered by a scoop neck. I know I'm flattered by a V-neck. And I know that those tend to work for me. There's some other silhouettes too, but we're going to focus there. Now for bottoms, this is where we want to think about putting your hands on your body again and thinking about where that natural waist point is. If you're going to go for a high cut leg, that is where, for a high waist style, that is where the waist needs to stop. So a lot of times what happens is we read on the tag, high waist, and I'm going to show you some slides in a minute. High waist is different on everybody's waist, right? I have a really short torso. So for me, a lot of things that are high waist really do come up pretty high on my waist. If you have a very long torso, you just got to think about it like proportionally, right? The material's not going to go as far. So you need to think about, is there like a high waist, right? Or just like, what does that look like? And this is what I teach my students all the time, right? Like, you can't just look at a tag and be like, there it is. You're going to need to buy different things, try on different things and see how high waist are the high waist, right? So again, you want that to come into that natural point of your waist. For me, I also know I have a high hip set, right? Meaning my hip bones are relatively high on my body. So I am best flattered by a high cut leg as well. I want to actually show off as much of the curvature of my hip as I can, because that helps to keep me in proportion. And we'll see in a couple slides, when the leg is low, like a boy short, I tend to look very rectangular and very squat, which is not my goal. And I want to say here too, none of this is right or wrong, right? There's an element of modesty, of comfort, of just you and your body, and that's valid. but I do want to say, trying different things out, you may surprise yourself. And like for a lot of us, the body that you had 20 years ago when you were just wearing whatever is not the body that you have today. So like, don't let that be a stopping point. Actually, let that be fuel. Let that be fire. Like, oh, there's a whole world of stuff out there that I haven't tried. Let me try something different in a swimsuit. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. So here, and I should say for those of you who are looking at the slides, this is the same bikini bottom. I just adjusted it, which I think is kind of cool. So you can actually see how I'm creating different silhouettes with the same swim bottom for illustrative purposes. But I didn't change. This is just me on the beach messing around with like where the swim bottoms are. So what I've done here is this is more of a mid-rise waist. Some companies will still call this a high waist. If you're looking at the slides, I'm on the right side. So it's just below my belly button. So what you can see is my body has come into that narrowest point and now it's back out again. So on the left, I'm going up and over and it creates a smoother silhouette the whole way down. On the right, that material is actually kind of digging in to where I'm a bit wider on the body. And in my opinion, it is not as flattering. That does not mean that you can't wear it or you can't do whatever you want, right? But I just want to illustrate for you guys, it matters where that bottom ends on where you are. You can also see my legs look a bit shorter here. And again, that's because I'm not fully showing off that curve in my hips. I'm not actually a very curvy person. I have pretty straight hips and thighs through that part of my body. Like, I think there's like this assumption like all Black women are curvy or all, you know, like women of color have to be curvy. And like a lot of us just aren't. But for me, because my hip set is high, it still makes the appearance, right, of like, here is the natural curve of my body. I'm not exaggerating it, but I like that look on me better than when it looks more squat. I can't see the comments, so y'all keep commenting and I'm gonna check them in a second. Okay, so here, my least favorite silhouette in the entire world on me is a hipster or a boy short look. So you can see like it just, like my legs literally look like a foot shorter. And so that is just what this silhouette does to me. So here's what's going on. For one thing, my body is better flattered by angles. So the V-neck, the high cut leg, those are angles and those look good on me. When I move to something like a boy short, I'm now going from a curve on my stomach to something straight across, and it makes me look very rectangular from top to bottom. I've also lost that leg line on the side without having that high cut leg, which we saw a little bit, but it's even more pronounced here. Now, who is a hipster or a boy short for? Some women are very flattered by this. I'd say if you actually have a shorter leg line, it may seem counterintuitive, but it's like you go with what you have. So that's why for me, the higher cut leg works because my hips are higher set. If you have a low set hip point, it's fine to try out a boy short because it's actually going to meet your hips where they are and it might actually look really good. So again, this is not like, oh, that looks terrible on Brandy, now I can't have it. This is about you understanding for your body type what you need and what you should be doing. So next, let's get into, again, I was just like rolling things up. So here, this is more of a bikini cut. So it comes underneath my stomach. And I've still retained the high cut leg. So this could be a matter of personal preference. With my stomach right now, I'm more comfortable having something that comes up and over my belly button. I think this picture looks fine, right? So again, it's like you do you, but there is, you know, just a level of comfort there. So I prefer to have my stomach covered while still having the high cut leg. But this is definitely a look. And so I'm doing this to kind of illustrate for you, like, my legs still look elongated. It's a little bit fuller in the midsection than I personally prefer, but like I could definitely rock this look. Next up, I pulled them up even higher, right? So I like this, like it's a little bit of a higher rise and there's even more of a high cut leg. And to me, like that looks a little bit flattering than the one before. And then next, completely different look. People ask like, well, what about, and we're going to actually look at some, what's it called? I'm going to show you a couple of different websites where you can actually see me kind of like shopping and like my thought process as I look through what to look for different bodies, like if I'm shopping for a client. But so for me here, we can see the bottoms are that same kind of like brief that I've been enjoying, a lot of coverage, but I think it's still really flattering because the legs are more high cut, high waist. And then I have this top, right, that has some embellishments in the middle and also on the side, some ruffles. So who can wear this? If you're proportional, have a straight body type, or if you're bigger on the bottom, embellishments on the top like ruffles can help to balance you out, right? So proportional, you can kind of get away with most things. For a straight body type, sometimes you want like a little something extra. And so embellishments like ruffles can kind of help to just provide a little bit more visual interest to your body shape. And then if you're bigger on the bottom, the embellishments here actually balance out your top and bottom because you're adding volume up here. The suit's adorable. I ended up keeping it because I found so many good ones, but so cute. This one's from ASOS. Next, pay attention to strap width. So in general, if you are really busty, thicker straps will help to balance you out. Now that said, not everyone wants a balance, right? So I'd say spaghetti straps can be fine, but they're mostly going to look good on you if you have a narrower shoulder. And that's for anyone, whether it's you're busty, you're not busty, like whatever's happening on top. Broad shoulders and thin straps, not a match made in heaven. So I typically do a thicker strap, but for this particular suit, I like the color, I like the bottoms, they were high rise, I like the embellishment in the middle. The more weight I gain, the more I'm like, let the girls run free. You know, it's just where I am in my life right now. So, and I have a more narrow shoulder. So for me, I'm able to get away with that. But I think it's just something to pay attention to. All right, and then here for one pieces, people are like, well, how do I know? For a one piece, you want to combine the principles of what you need on top and what you need on bottom into one thing. And that may sound oversimplified, but again, we get really overwhelmed with swim because we're like, I don't know what looks good on me. Like I'm having all sorts of thoughts about my body and what to do and like how to cover it and all this. So really just simplify it down to like, what neckline do you want to rock? And then what kind of leg shape do you want to have? And if you do that and you pair those two things into one suit, you'll be golden. And this one, we had like the cover on, like the waterproof cover on, so it's like really ridiculous, but you can see just another example of like a deep V and a high cut leg, and I'm all about it. All right, so I am going to stop sharing and come back and look at what comments y'all have. Jamie says, I'm loving that these are real life action photos on your vacay. Like, listen, like I'm here for you all. Like I literally, like that day with the black swimsuit, made my friend, I was like, we're doing this. She was like, okay, let's go. And I just kept like adjusting it until I got all of that good stuff. All right, so last, I'm just gonna walk you through so you guys can see, not me, but some other body shapes and body types of like what to do and how to style things. So let me share my screen again, and we'll walk through a couple of different sites. So we're gonna do Plus first, and then some Missies. I've never shopped from this brand, so please do not take this as an endorsement. I know nothing about them, but I enjoyed that they have like an entire, line dedicated to Plus. I'm kind of on the cusp right now. I'm like a 14, 16. So there's certain things I do Plus, certain things that more so on the bottom, and then traditional or like whatever we call them, Missy sizes. I don't like calling them regular because everyone's regular. Thank you. On the top. So here's my thing about Plus. I think a lot of times covering up, there's a lot about covering up that I hate. One, you're covering up, I mean, it's not just your body, right? I think you end up like covering up like a lot of your person when you feel like you have to cover up. That said, again, I understand like some people like more modesty, like you do you. I just always want it to be a choice. I want you to choose modesty because you are a modest person. I don't want you to choose modesty because you feel like you don't deserve to have your skin on display. And that's just something that like may come with time. You might need to hear me talk about it a lot. You might need to have some self-talk about it. But like everybody is a summer body. Everybody deserves to relax, be in the sand, do whatever it is you need to do, be at the pool with your kids, like whatever that looks like for you. And so I just want to say like the covering up thing, like we gotta figure that out. So suits I like here. I enjoy this one a lot, this black cutout mesh underwire one piece. So for one thing, if you're bustier, you've got the girls look great. You have this little cutout that is strategically placed because that's usually, again, it's pretty much at the natural waist. So that's a part of the body that is usually a little bit more narrow. And you have like, I'd say like a modestly high cut leg. It's not super high cut, but that'll work on a lot of bodies. Not everyone needs like the super high that I like. I just enjoy that Baywatch style. But I like this. It's like solid. You've got a little bit of visual interest. You've got a lot of open space here at the neck. And that can be really flattering on almost every body shape because it draws attention to your face. And that's where people should be looking anyway. I mean, they can look at your banging body too, but you know, you're having conversations. I like this bikini set. It's got good coverage in the back if that's something that you're looking for. And then just, again, all that visual interest. A lot of times we look at swim and we're just like, I hate it. A lot of times designers are really trying to help us out. Like they really, really are, if you let them. So let them, like, look for visual interest. Look at all that crisscrossing. Like it doesn't let the eye rest in any one place. And so if you do feel a little bit like less confident about your body, having a lot of visual interest in a suit is a great way to just kind of remove like a focal point from you if that makes you uncomfortable while still knowing that you look good. These wrap styles are super cute. Let's talk about color blocking. Wherever the color is darkest and more matte is going to minimize. Okay, so if you are, say, bigger on the bottom or you have a fuller midsection and like you're not trying to live that life, then you want darker on the bottom if you're thinking about how to color block things. You can also do something like this black V-neck streak, right? Where again, these panels are strategically placed to go to your narrowest part. This suit is creating an hourglass, so it's really great for straight body types because you don't have one. If that's something that you desire, you can just buy it in a swimsuit. So that's just a few ways of just like helping you guys think through some of those things. Pardon me. And then next up, sorry, y'all have to go back and share. We got one more. And then I'm gonna have you guys ask any questions you want. So I got a bunch of my suits from Cupshe. I had never ordered from them before. I honestly don't even know if that's how you pronounce it, but we're gonna go with it. And I was actually really, really happy with the quality. And every suit was like $25. I was like, let's go. They were true to size for me. I got an extra large and everything. They do have separate. So if you're like a different size on the top or on the bottom, you can rock with that. So let's talk about what we got going on here. So number one, this top is a really great top for almost all bust sizes because you get volume with the crisscross if you are smaller on top and you want to emphasize your bust. If you naturally have a larger bust, because of the way that the diagonals go, it actually kind of minimizes because it's coming to the middle versus kind of showing off the fullness of your bust. These sports bra type ones with like the big straps here, I find these to be unflattering on most people. Just think about it. Like when you're in a sports bra, does that feel like your best look or is it more utilitarian? So I think that this is actually one like just like be a little bit careful. If you know that you look good in this, rock it. I will say it typically looks better on a more athletic body type. If you've got like a strong shoulder line, you've got broad shoulders, like if you look like you could play beach volleyball, like go for it. It is actually not that flattering on most of us because it just is like, it's just doing this, which like there's no real like shape or visual interest there. And look at how high cut that leg is. Yes, high cut leg. Over here, we have this asymmetric ruffle. I love this style. I think this is flattering on almost every body type. If you have more of a straight body type, it's going to, again, add that little bit of embellishment that just kind of gives some curve and dimension to your body where you don't have it naturally. If you are bigger on top, that asymmetry is going to kind of break up a big bust line, right? Sometimes you want a big bust line, sometimes you don't. So that asymmetry just kind of helps to break that up. If you're bigger on the bottom, it's giving you more volume on the top to kind of match your bottom half so you look more proportional. So again, I think these are great, and I highly recommend you try one out. Special mention here, bandeaus. Bandeaus are really tricky. They're really tricky. I find that it's like wearing a strapless bra. Like, how hard is it to shop for a strapless bra? Hard. So I think I would say, like, proceed with caution. If you're going for a bandeau, they can look really good, but a lot of times it just like smushes boobs. It looks weird. Like, you're just going to have to kind of figure out that life. I would not start there if you're not a confident bandeau wearer, but they can be cute. And then we have like a great V-neck here, right? So again, it's just about knowing what are you naturally usually more flattered by. If you need, if you have like a thinner strap here, like a regular triangle bra, I actually think all bust sizes can wear a triangle bra. It's just about getting it so that the cups feel proportionate to your boobs. But there's a lot here. This one on the bottom, she's got some ruching there. Ruching can also be really flattering. It kind of draws the eye to the side of the hips, which is often very flattering as opposed to the middle, if that's not where you want your attention, kind of like smack in the middle of your midsection. So y'all, I hope that this was helpful. I'm all about like just really thinking through your proportions, where you narrow in, what you need to feel best flattered, and like own it, right? Just like own it, own it, own it. Like, this is my body. I know how to dress her, or I'm learning. And again, you can always learn more by signing up for my course. And I'll put that back in on the banner here in a second. But it's really just about like understanding how your top and your bottom halves work together. And just kind of figuring that out. All right, let's get into the comments. Jamie says, I'm still sad about the death of the tankini. Y'all, please don't tankini in the streets. We do not need it. It's like a crutch. Like, please let the tankini go. I swear you are aging yourself, like not in the fun, like age gracefully way, just in the like sad aging way. If you want more coverage, then think about some of those I showed on the other side are more like a little swim dress. I think that can be super cute, okay? But the actual like top half, bottom half, where you have like a shirt in a swimming pool, please retire it. Please retire it. I just love that Jamie's sad about it. Speaking of athletic, here, I'm gonna put this comment up. Speaking of athletic, how do you balance good support with cuteness? Or what do you look for those who have kids and have to run and bend over all the time? I feel you. I have a client in particular. I shop for her every year. She's got 2 young kids, and like they're active, right? So like she can't have the like I look cute swimsuit. It's like I'm running, I'm bending, I'm jumping, I'm diving after people. So for this in particular, here's what you want to look for. One, you really want to make sure that the band width is like at least an inch thick, right? If you're looking for like a one piece, like a triangle situation is just like not going to work. You probably already knew that, but just in case. But you want something like in the slides I showed earlier, you want something that has like at least a 1 inch thick band around here. That is going to help the entire structure of a 2-piece have more support. And then you also want to look for wider V-neck panels with like, I'd say use 2 fingers as a rule, like a strap that's like 2 fingers thick. So the wider it is, the less movement there is of like something falling out, something going over here. And you also want to really make sure that like if it's adjustable, like find something adjustable, right? So you can like tie it as tight as you need to and feel really good about that. Another way to go is actual like underwire cups. Maybe not like the most comfortable, but it's like a bra, like you usually don't fall out of a bra, right? But I do think in general, like that wider V shape in a top and making sure that the straps and the band are thicker will allow you to have the coverage you need if you're in the right size. In a one piece, it's a little bit simpler, of course. You just want to look for something that has more of like a scoop neck, not like a deep V situation. High necks are also really great in bikinis and in one pieces, right? So these are the ones like the neck comes up here, but they cut away here. So you're completely covered. You're completely covered. There's no chance of like, any sort of like a wardrobe malfunction, but you get a lot of style from that. They can look really good. Do you have shop or store recommendations for suits that are more supportive or shaping? Land's End, people sleep on Land's End. Land's End actually has like really great swimsuits, and they do a lot of that like miracle suit-esque stuff. So I'd say check out Land's End. And I'd say a lot of times it's not about like the brand, it's about looking for what makes the swimsuit work for you or not. And this is a lot of what I teach too. Like a lot of times, like my clients like, oh, where do you shop? Where do you shop? And I'll be like, oh, I was in Ann Taylor last week. And they're like really disappointed. Like, but you look so cute. No shade, Ann Taylor, but like shade, right? Like, and a lot of that is because we think there's like a magic store where everything fits. And that's just not true. Like you still have to know what works and what doesn't. So look for ruching, right, where the material is gathered. Have that come all the way to the side. That's going to look very flattering on most body types. Anything that is just kind of like flat all the way down with like no visual interest usually is not as flattering. Like you need some visual interest. So I'd say keep that stuff in mind. If you want compression, like literally Google swimsuits with compression or shaping swimwear, and like things will pop up and you can start to kind of navigate from there. This has been so fun. I have been like absolutely loving this. I hope you guys got a lot of really great tips and tricks out of this. In the future, stay tuned. One, that course, please go and sign up to get on the wait list so you'll be the first to know when doors open for my signature body shape and style course. And then also I will be sending out or kind of publishing either a blog, or I might just do like to know it with like some of like the swimsuits I featured here, some other ones for your shape that I think would be really flattering. So stay tuned for that. All right, y'all, it's been real. Have an amazing weekend. Go live your best lives. Go try on some swimsuits. And remember, it's going to take a few to convert. Like you're not going to have a one-to-one conversion, and that's okay. But you're now armed with tons of tools to be able to go forth and prosper and know what to look for. All right, y'all. Next time. Bye.